Hey everybody, this is attempt number 2 at doing my first ever Pioneer Writing YouTube channel subscription. So thanks for tuning in there. Special shout out to Leslie, who gave me a heads up that my audio wasn't working. Found out that it was because I was silly and didn't allow YouTube access to my microphone. So so I'm just re-recording my first video that I had on there, and that was about the importance of saying no as a freelancer. And this is something that I struggle personally with as a writer and as a person. I am a people pleaser. If you believe in horoscopes, that's a total Taurus thing, and I'm a Taurus, so it's just something I've always struggled with, and I have no idea why, because I get really mad at people when it's just me, in my house. If I get a client messaging me and asking something unreasonable, I'm sure my neighbors can hear me screaming from 2 doors down. So so I wanted to talk about saying no and a little bit about getting started as a freelancer and setting up reasonable expectations from the get-go. So first things that I think are the most important is just making sure that you can handle your own priorities. So that is something I kind of struggle with as someone with a very short attention span, is prioritizing. And I found that making lists, hard paper or hard copy or on your computer or whatever works best for you on your phone, that really helps. Even if you don't get everything done in the time limit that you set up for yourself originally, you'll still get more done than if you don't make your own sort of list. Alternately, if you're into apps, I use Grammarly, and this is not a promotional post or anything. That's just something I use personally, and it doesn't work for me every day. So really also just sussing out how you feel that day. Some days I feel like writing out my schedule on a piece of paper. Some days I feel like getting reminders sent to me through Grammarly. So it's really up to you. Now, if you have a short attention span like I do, there are a couple tricks that I use to keep myself focused. First is that I try not to sit in the same spot every day. So if you have a tiny apartment or anything like that, this can be a little bit hard, but it could be as easy as switching from your desk or your bed, wherever you work, to the kitchen or even the bathroom. I mean, I love my bathroom, but I don't write in there because I have a house. But whatever you can do to kind of keep your attention maintained, that'll help you stay focused. It isn't always your fault, and if you find that you're having issues focusing, it might be best to kind of talk with your doctor about what might be causing that, or if they might be able to help you with anything. But generally, every freelancer loses focus. It's really hard to maintain focus for 10 hours straight on blogs about toilets, since we're on the bathroom subject. But yeah, and every freelancer writes about things they don't like to begin with. It's just the thing that happens. And when that does happen, you're going to be pretty hard to focus, or you're going to have a hard time focusing in on what you're writing. Know that you can't always blame your employer for your shortcomings, but once you get the issue of tackling your own organization down, there are a lot of things that you'll find out are not your fault. So that leads me into my next topic, which was kind of not letting your employer take advantage of you and setting reasonable expectations for yourself as a freelancer. So regardless of what clientele base you have, I work for a small company, I work for a large company, and I have a kind of single person business person that I work for on a regular basis. and a couple of, here and there clients. They range in every size and every shape and every type of client, and all of them do things that drive me insane. And all of them are awesome though. I mean, they all have their own sort of things that make me like to work with them. That being said, they all do things that drive me nuts, like I said. So what helps with that when you have employers who are driving you hard into the ground is to set reasonable expectations. And this will lead you up to being able to successfully say no to clients and employers and things like that. And this can be applicable to whether or not you're a freelancer or you work for a company. Saying no sometimes to the people you work for it's just something you need to do in order to be successful. So I find that setting reasonable expectations for me often means, hey, these are days I'm working, these are days I'm not working. Keeping in mind that if I'm not contracted with someone, I am not obligated to tell them what hours I'm working or anything like that. I rarely tell any of my employers or my clients when I'm working. I will give them days. I will give them advance notice if I'm going to be doing something on like a weekday that will take me away from the computer. But otherwise, I don't need to tell them that I'm going to be up at 6 a.m. and working until 4 p.m. I don't need to tell them that I'm going to start working at noon and work until 8 p.m. It's up to me. It's up to you as a freelancer. That's why you got the job. It's to set your own hours. And you're not contracted, so you have no reason to tell your clients what hours you're working. Just keep in mind that does not absolve you from getting things in within the deadlines. Now, if you are like me, who just ran into my first ever deadline that I could not meet, I just had too much work that was humanly possible for one human to do in the time that they gave me, on top of me moving across the country. If you do run into that time, just tell them, tell your employers, give them advance notice, say, hey, listen, I tried my hardest to get it done by this time. This is just too much work. I really need an extension. And if they're an employer worth their salt, they'll give you that extension. If they're not, then, finish it up for them and use your best judgment. I've had clients that have been completely unreasonable about me not getting work in early. I try to get things in early, but generally I'm kind of like a on-time person. Like, it'll be in the day that it's due. That's just how I work. I work well under pressure. So being upfront with them, saying, hey, let me know if you need it earlier than this. If not, do not expect it earlier than this. Telling them if you're going to be going away for a weekend, telling them if you're going to be gone for a day. That's all good stuff you can do. And that will kind of give them an idea of what to expect from you. Like, they'll know if they haven't heard from you all day about a project that's due that day, that you're probably working on it and it'll be in later. So that leads me to my last point, and that is about saying no. And this kind of struck a chord for me this week and this month, really this year, the whole of 2018, because I just took on too much work in January, and it has eaten into my February, and it's not been great. So what happened basically was, in December, a whole ton of awesome stuff happened to me and my partner. He got into grad school in Texas, but we found out in the middle of December, and they wanted him in Texas by the middle of January. So that meant that he packed up his personal stuff and a lot of our stuff into his truck, headed out early, and I was left to kind of take care of the space that we were renting prior to that. So I did that. I was working basically from when I woke up in the morning to when I went to sleep at night. And go figure, I solicited a bunch of potential employers for employment in December, and because it was December and holidays, They didn't have any employment for me then, but they all kind of like jumped on me for employment opportunities mid-January, of course, when I'm trying to move. Uh, so I'm playing catch up from that point in time. And one of my largest employers gave me just a huge project knowing that I was moving. So if I had the foresight to go back to that point in time, I probably would have asked them for a little bit more time. Now, what you ask your clients to do is totally dependent on your type of personality. I'm the type of person who can live without the extra paycheck if it means I can, get 8 hours of sleep. So instead of opting for extra money to get it done on time, I opted to ask for extra time, so that I, for my sanity, so I could have a day off. I haven't really had a day off in like 3 weeks, but I was able to spend half a day on my anniversary with Miles, so that was good. But really, just getting those expectations up front, saying, hey, I need more time. And then if people are being unreasonable, you just need to say no. And I have reasons as to why this is good for writers to say no. Let me give an example first. So one of my clients who I work with a lot, and I like them a lot, but they sometimes have very demanding time frames, and often they're time frames that I just don't agree with, and I don't think anyone should have to agree with those time frames. Like they'll send me something the day of and be like, I need this by tonight, and often they won't be asking for extra pay. They'll just be like, can you do this tonight? As a freelancer, it is up to you as to whether or not you want to take those projects. There was one point when this client asked me to do a short-term project the day I got here to Texas, from Oregon after a 17-hour day on planes. And I full up told them, I'm like, I don't have time, and when they kind of put up a little bit of a fuss, I was about to write them and say, hey, if you want me to get it done, I will need extra money. And then they said, here's some extra money. So, I took that and got it done. It was annoying. It would have been nice to have had the whole day to pack and explore my new home before I jumped right into work, but that's the freelance lifestyle for you. But it shouldn't have to be that you sacrifice your time and your sanity to get things done. It really is up to you as a freelancer. Saying no is not going to stop you from getting gigs. It's not going to stop you from getting money. And it'll make you a better freelancer. It'll help you better sort of focus on your projects, give proper expectations, and commit to things rather than kind of half, the word, kind of giving half of what you could give if you were fully committed to it on a day where you had enough time. So that's about it. A little recap of my initial video that I deleted because of audio issues. And yeah, I'll be posting another video here shortly, and it'll be an Ask a Freelancer sort of call to action. And go ahead, leave your questions about it, and share, subscribe. I'd like to start making my writing sell. So I appreciate it. Thank you.